As we approach life's milestones, we begin to realize that there are lessons we wish we had learned earlier. Experiences that, if understood sooner, could have transformed not only the way we live, but also the way we feel and connect with the world around us. Today, I invite you to embark with me on a reflection about spirituality, about what truly matters and can enrich each of the years still ahead of us. This journey is inspired by the teachings of Ram Dass, a master who reminds us that presence, awareness, and deep love are the pillars of a fulfilling life. Often, we are so caught up in the fast pace of daily life that we forget to simply be. To be means more than just existing. It means perceiving, feeling, and experiencing each moment fully. Every moment is unique, unrepeatable, and brings with it the opportunity to connect with something greater, whether ourselves, others, or the life pulsing around us. Ram Dass teaches us that true spirituality is not only found in complex practices or in profound moments of insight, but in the attention we give to small gestures, a smile, a glance, an unexpected act of kindness. Reflecting on spirituality before turning 60 is, in a way, a gift we give ourselves. It is recognizing that there is still time to cultivate habits that bring peace and clarity. We can learn to free ourselves from old resentments, to accept our limitations without judgment, and to embrace our potential with courage and love. Spirituality invites us to look inward and outward, noticing the interconnectedness of all things. It is realizing that our actions, even the simplest ones, reverberate and have impact, whether in our own lives or in the lives of others. A fundamental aspect of this journey is the practice of presence. Being present means setting aside, even for a few moments, the distractions of the past and anxieties about the future. It means listening with genuine attention, feeling each breath and noticing the details that usually go unnoticed. We can start with small practices, taking a few deep breaths throughout the day, feeling the sun warming our skin, hearing the sound of a bird, or simply observing our mind without clinging to the thoughts that arise. Each small act of mindful attention brings us closer to a deeper understanding of ourselves and of life. Another essential point is the cultivation of love, not just in its romantic form, but as an expansive force that transforms. To love means to accept, forgive, and recognize the humanity in every person we meet. It also means caring for ourselves with the same kindness and compassion we offer others. Ram Dass reminds us that spiritual life is not separate from everyday life. It manifests in every gesture, choice, and interaction we have. As we advance in years, it is natural for questions about purpose and meaning to arise. Often we believe that spirituality is something distant, reserved for sages or moments of isolation. However, it is present in everything we do, in the way we relate to others, in how we face challenges, and in how we allow ourselves simply to be. By cultivating awareness, we learn to recognize patterns that limit us, to embrace moments of silence, and to value what truly matters. Ultimately, this journey before turning 60 is an invitation to transformation. It is a call to slow down, to look inward with honesty, and to expand our hearts toward the world. Each day is an opportunity to practice presence, compassion, and gratitude. Each moment offers the chance to reconnect with the essence of who we truly are, beyond titles, expectations, or judgments. It is a reminder that it is never too late to learn, to love, and to live with greater awareness. If these reflections touch your heart, I invite you to share your own experiences and learnings in the comments. Dialogue, like presence and love, is a powerful tool to grow and expand our understanding of life. May we together walk this journey with attentive eyes, open hearts, and awakened spirits, savoring each moment as unique, full of meaning and beauty. When we speak of true presence, we refer to something far beyond merely existing or going through the day automatically. To be present is to allow oneself to fully inhabit each moment, to feel each breath, to perceive every sound, color, and detail around us. It is an invitation to step out of autopilot and immerse ourselves in the richness of every moment life offers. In Ram Dass's teachings, this practice is not merely a philosophical concept, but a path to experiencing life in its fullness, without being dragged by the past or consumed by worries about the future. Often our mind traps us in memories or regrets of what has already happened, creating what-if scenarios or it-should-have-been thoughts. At other times, it projects us into the future, imagining problems that do not yet exist, anticipating challenges, and building anxieties that drain our energy. In this state, life passes before our eyes, but we do not perceive it. True presence, then, is the practice of bringing attention back to the now, with curiosity, acceptance, and genuine awareness of what is happening inside and outside of us. Living fully in the moment does not mean ignoring the past or the future, but recognizing them without attachment. It is observing the thoughts that arise, without judgment, like clouds passing through the sky of our consciousness. It is realizing that deep down, every moment is unique and unrepeatable, and only when we are truly attentive can we experience life deeply and meaningfully. This awareness does not need to be complicated. In fact, the simpler it is, the more powerful it becomes. A practical exercise we can apply at any moment of the day is simply noticing our breath. Inhale slowly, feeling the air fill your lungs, and then exhale, noticing the sense of relaxation that comes with each out-breath. Observe how your body feels right now, your feet on the ground, your hands resting, your shoulders, your posture. Feel the small physical sensations, the sounds coming from outside, the smells around you. Just be there, completely present. If the mind drifts, as it naturally will, gently bring your attention back to your breath and the now. This simple act of awareness can open doors to a richer and broader perception of daily life. Another way to practice presence is by appreciating your surroundings. Perhaps you are walking, sitting in a cafe, or even waiting in line. Observe the colors, textures, light and shadows. Listen to the sounds, the wind in the trees, footsteps, conversations, birds. Feel the small things, the temperature of the air on your skin, the softness of a fabric, the aroma of a flower or freshly brewed coffee. Every detail, when noticed mindfully, becomes an opportunity to live the moment more intensely. Throughout the day, we can ask ourselves, which moments today did I truly notice? It is an invitation to look back gently, without guilt or judgment, just to observe where we were present and where we may have drifted. This reflective glance helps identify patterns and cultivate greater attention for future moments, strengthening the practice of presence in daily life. Being present also involves accepting life as it comes, without resistance. Often, we try to control or shape situations to fit our expectations, but true presence teaches us to flow with what is, to recognize the beauty and depth of the moment, even in simple or challenging circumstances. When we allow each moment to be exactly as it is, we open space for a sense of gratitude, serenity, and connection with ourselves and the world around us. The practice of presence does not need to be long or complicated. Small pauses throughout the day can make a huge difference. Consciously breathing for a few seconds, observing a flower, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, listening attentively to someone without planning responses or judgments, all of this is presence. These small moments, accumulated, transform the way we live, making life richer, clearer, and more meaningful. And here is the final invitation. Take a deep breath now, feeling each inhalation and exhalation. Remember that every moment lived with mindful attention is a gift you give yourself. Share a small moment of presence you experienced today, even if it was something simple, like noticing the taste of your coffee, feeling the wind on your face, or hearing a bird sing. These small instances are what build a full, conscious, and truly present life. By cultivating this practice daily, you will begin to notice that life is a sequence of precious moments that deserve our attention, care, and appreciation. And as Ram Dass taught, the true essence of spirituality is not in grand gestures or external achievements, but in the quality of our presence, in how we allow ourselves to experience each moment with love, awareness, and openness to what is. Life is by nature impermanent. Everything we know, everything we experience, is in constant transformation. From the moment we are born, we are invited to dance with change. As we approach our 60s, this truth becomes even more clear. We realize that time passes quickly, the body changes, people come and go, old dreams sometimes give way to new desires. And nothing, absolutely nothing, remains exactly the same. For some, this realization may bring fear or resistance. We want to hold tightly to what we know, to protect what is familiar. But life, like a river, never stops flowing. Trying to contain its current is like trying to hold water in your hands. It inevitably slips away. True freedom arises when we learn to let go, to allow the waters to follow their course, trusting that each bend of the river will lead us to new landscapes. Aging is not merely accumulating years. It is the opportunity to release the weight we no longer need to carry. Grudges, resentments, expectations that no longer serve us, all of this can be left behind, just as trees shed their leaves in autumn. This letting go creates space for something lighter, truer, more connected to who we truly are now. Valuing the relationships that matter becomes essential. It is not about having many connections, but about nurturing those that feed the soul. Perhaps it is time to send a message to a longtime friend, to tell someone how important they are, or simply to be present in a conversation without rush, without distractions. Life is made up of these moments that, however simple they may seem, carry immeasurable value. It is also time to rediscover joy in the small things. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee, the sound of rain tapping on the window, the sunset painting the sky with hues no camera can perfectly capture. When we release the weight of the past and anxiety about the future, our hearts become more available to savor the now. Nature is a great teacher when it comes to impermanence. The seasons change without asking for permission. Winter does not apologize for being cold, nor spring for bringing fleeting flowers. Rivers are not afraid to move forward, even without knowing exactly where they will end. So too is our journey. Each cycle brings its own challenges and gifts. Resisting change is like trying to stop the seasons from passing. Impossible. Acceptance is living in harmony with life's own rhythm. And perhaps, at this stage of life, the greatest gift we can give ourselves is precisely the courage to let go. Let go of what weighs us down, limits us, or has already served its purpose. Letting go allows us to walk lighter, more available for what is yet to come. So take a deep breath and ask yourself, what are you holding on to that no longer serves your highest good? Perhaps it is an old grudge, an unrealistic expectation, a fear that no longer has a foundation. Acknowledge it and allow yourself to release it. And if this message has touched something within you, share in the comments one thing you are ready to let go of. By writing it down, you already take the first step toward transforming your relationship with time, with life, and with impermanence itself. The power of compassion is one of the most transformative forces we can cultivate throughout life. It goes far beyond a simple gesture of kindness or a fleeting act of courtesy. Compassion is the conscious choice to look at another with an open heart, recognizing their humanity, their pains, their dreams, and their vulnerabilities, and responding not with judgment, but with genuine presence and care. It is the act of allowing oneself to feel alongside another, to understand beyond words, and to act to alleviate suffering when possible. Imagine a time when someone reached out to you in a difficult moment, not to fix everything, but simply to be there, with attention and presence. Perhaps it was a friend who listened without interrupting, or a stranger who offered an unexpected gesture of kindness. These moments remain etched in memory, not because they were great deeds, but because they touched something deep within us. Compassion also manifests in small, invisible acts: giving up a seat on the bus, offering a sincere smile, preparing a meal for someone who is weak, or simply taking the time to truly listen when someone needs to speak. Ram Dass said that serving others is not just a moral obligation, but a spiritual practice. When we help, we recognize that there is no real separation between self and other. Serving is, in fact, serving ourselves, because we are all interconnected. And compassion is not limited to those we love or agree with. It extends to those with whom we have differences, to those who challenge us, and even to those who have hurt us. This does not mean allowing abuse or abandoning our boundaries, but rather freeing the heart from the weight of hatred and revenge. Forgiving is not forgetting, and certainly not justifying the wrong. It is choosing not to carry the emotional burden that prevents us from living fully. When we open space for compassion, something changes within us. We begin to notice that anger and fear dissolve, giving way to a broader sense of connection and peace. We come to understand that every person we meet is fighting battles we often cannot see, and it is precisely this awareness that invites us to act with greater care and sensitivity. Ram Dass reminded us that we do not need grand gestures to live with compassion. We can start now, in this very moment. We can be more mindful of how we speak, the patience we offer, the respect we demonstrate, even in the fastest interactions of the day. A conversation with a cashier, an exchange of glances with a neighbor, a hug given with intention, all of these carry transformative power when they come from a truly open heart. Compassion is also an internal practice. Often we are too harsh on ourselves, criticizing our failures and doubting our worth. But if we cannot treat ourselves kindly, it is much harder to offer it to others. Being compassionate with oneself is not being complacent, but recognizing that the human path is imperfect by nature, and that every stumble is also an opportunity for learning. When we make compassion a habit, the world around us begins to change. Not because we can solve all problems or heal all wounds, but because we create an environment where empathy can flourish. Just as a single candle can light hundreds of others without losing its flame, a compassionate act can inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect far beyond what we can imagine. So perhaps the question we can take with us today is, how can we bring more compassion into our daily interactions? Perhaps by listening more attentively, offering forgiveness where there is hurt, or recognizing that even those who irritate us are seeking, in their own way, to ease their own pain. And now, an invitation. Share a story of compassion that changed your day. It can be something you received, something you offered, or something you simply witnessed. By telling it, you are spreading seeds that can blossom in the hearts of those who hear it. Practicing mindful gratitude is more than just saying thank you when something good happens. It is a way of living. It is an exercise in presence, an act of recognizing here and now the value of what we already have. Often, we go through our days as if rushing from one commitment to another, always expecting happiness to come from something that has not yet happened. But gratitude invites us to shift our focus. It asks us to look around, to look inward, and realize that life already offers us far more than we imagine. When we speak of gratitude as a daily spiritual practice, we are talking about training the heart. Like a muscle, gratitude strengthens with use. It is not something that emerges only in moments of victory or abundance. On the contrary, it flourishes precisely when we learn to find it in simple situations and even in challenges. Imagine waking up and, before getting out of bed, pausing for a few seconds to think, what today, at this very moment, is already a reason for gratitude. It could be the comfort of the bed, the quiet of the morning, the sound of rain outside, or even the opportunity to start anew. A practical and powerful way to cultivate this awareness is to write down each morning 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be big or small. What matters is feeling them. When we write, something changes inside us. The simple act of recording on paper forces us to pause, reflect, and name the blessings that might otherwise go unnoticed. Another tip is to pay attention to the small blessings throughout the day. The smile of someone you love, the aroma of fresh coffee, the gentle wind on your face, an unexpected act of kindness. These moments, seemingly ordinary, are like tiny points of light stitched into the fabric of life. When we pause to notice them, we realize they carry immense weight in how we feel. Mindful gratitude is not only about what has already happened, but also about what is happening now. It takes us out of autopilot and puts us in tune with the present moment. It is like adjusting a camera lens. When we focus on beauty, it becomes clearer. Over time, this practice changes how we see life. Situations that once seemed trivial begin to gain meaning. Even on difficult days, we can find small reasons to be thankful, and this does not deny pain, but recognizes that even within it, there is something that supports, strengthens, and reminds us that we are not alone. Gratitude also connects us more deeply with others. When we express sincere appreciation, we strengthen bonds. A simple, "I am grateful for you," can transform someone's day. It is as if, by spreading gratitude, we are lighting candles in the dark, and each flame illuminates not only the path of the recipient, but also our own. Therefore, this practice should not be limited to thought or writing. Whenever possible, speak it. Tell people how much they mean to you. Give thanks for opportunities. Acknowledge efforts. And most importantly, do not wait for special occasions to do so. Today, I invite you to become a mindful observer of your own life. During the next few hours, notice the small moments that bring joy or peace. Perhaps it is the way the afternoon light enters through the window. Perhaps it is a hug, or simply the silence that allows you to take a deep breath. Now, pause for a moment, breathe, feel the air entering and leaving, and ask yourself, which small moments today have already brought joy or peace? Comment one thing for which you are grateful right now. Integrating spirituality into daily life is an invitation to transform ordinary moments into portals of presence, connection, and meaning. Often we think of spirituality as something distant, reserved only for retreats, temples, or deep meditation. But the truth is that it can and should manifest in the small actions of life, in the simple routines we repeat unconsciously. The great secret is bringing awareness to what we already do, giving each gesture a deeper purpose. Imagine the act of eating. How many times have you sat at the table without really paying attention to the food? We chew while thinking about commitments, scrolling on our phones, or getting lost in hurried conversations. But when we bring spiritual awareness to this moment, everything changes. We sit, breathe, observe the texture, aroma, and color of the food. We chew slowly, noticing the flavors unfolding, feeling gratitude for each piece of sustenance. Eating ceases to be automatic and becomes a sacred ritual of connection with life. The same can happen while walking. Normally, we walk as if racing against time, concerned with the destination rather than the path. But when we walk consciously, each step becomes an opportunity to feel the ground beneath our feet, to observe the trees, the wind, the sounds of birds, the warmth or coolness of the air. The world ceases to pass unnoticed and begins to reveal details that nourish the soul. Another powerful moment is during conversations. How often do we truly listen with full presence? Most of the time, we are already formulating our response before the other person has finished speaking. Bringing spiritual awareness to dialogue means truly listening with an open heart, without rushing to interrupt, allowing the other person to feel seen and understood. It is transforming each exchange into a space of welcome and respect. This integration does not need to be forced. It happens when we decide to take intentional pauses throughout the day to breathe, feel, and reconnect with the now. It could be while having coffee, simply appreciating the aroma and warmth of the cup. It could be while washing dishes, noticing the sensation of water, the sound, the temperature. It could be upon waking, before even getting out of bed, placing a hand on your heart and acknowledging the blessing of being alive. Spirituality ceases to be merely theoretical when it begins to live in our actions. It is not about creating new, complicated habits, but about illuminating the ones we already. Life is happening with attention and presence. Every gesture can be a silent prayer, every breath a moment of gratitude. Gradually, we realize that there is no need to seek a spiritual life somewhere far away, because it is unfolding here in this very moment. The most beautiful thing is that by doing this, the world around us also changes, not because external reality has transformed, but because our perception has expanded. We begin to see beauty in the simplest things, peace in moments of pause, and meaning in the most mundane tasks. And it is then that we understand that spirituality is not a special state reserved for a few moments, but a way of living, a way of being fully present in everything we do. Now close your eyes for a moment and think, which small habits in your day could become spiritual practices? Perhaps the way you shower, walk to work, or even make your bed in the morning. Any action can be a portal of presence if done mindfully. And remember, it is not about changing your entire routine at once, but choosing a moment and starting there. So, I invite you to experiment. Choose a simple habit this week and decide to make it more conscious, more alive, more sacred. Notice how this affects your energy, your peace, and even your relationships. Spiritual life is here in the present, just waiting for you to perceive it. What small daily habits could you transform into spiritual practices? Share a habit you plan to make more conscious this week. There comes a moment in life when we begin to perceive more clearly that time is not infinite. The marks on our face, changes in our body, the absence of some people we love, all of this quietly reminds us that we are walking toward a destiny common to all: death. For many, this thought can cause fear or anxiety. But for others, as Ram Dass taught, it can be a doorway to a deeper understanding of life. Ram Dass said that accepting mortality is not a sad surrender, but a liberation. When we recognize that our time here is limited, we begin to appreciate the value of each moment. It is as if life gains more color, more texture, more presence. Instead of postponing dreams, words, or acts of affection, we come to understand that all we truly have is the now. Awareness of death may seem like a burden, but in truth, when approached with an open heart, it becomes a gentle reminder nothing lasts forever. And that is precisely what makes each moment so precious. Like a flower that blooms and soon fades, The beauty lies in its impermanence. If it were eternal, perhaps we would not see it with the same wonder. Accepting mortality does not mean giving up on life. On the contrary, it means living it more intensely, more consciously, more truthfully. It is stopping the waste of energy trying to control the uncontrollable, and instead focusing on what is within our reach. Cultivating sincere relationships, appreciating small joys, caring for what truly matters. And when we reflect, we realize that much of our suffering does not come from death itself, but from attachment. Attachment to an image of ourselves, to possessions, to roles we play. Over time, we learn that we can love deeply without trying to hold on, live fully without seeking to freeze the moment. Ram Dass reminded us that by contemplating death, we can access a deeper layer of peace. Life is like a river, and we are navigating it. We can resist, trying to row against the current, or we can relax, release the oars, and allow the river to carry us, trusting the flow. When we think about impermanence, something changes. Perhaps we begin to value more a casual conversation, a sunset seen from the window, the silence of a hug, the sound of laughter. Perhaps we understand that we do not need to have all the answers, nor control every outcome. And gradually, the fear of the end gives way to a calm curiosity. What will this passage be like? Perhaps it is just another transformation, like so many others we have already experienced. The fact is that death, as distant as it may seem, accompanies us from the very first moment of life. Recognizing this does not steal our joy. On the contrary, it invites a more vibrant and alive presence. So, take a deep breath. Look around. Notice people, colors, sounds. Feel the air in your lungs, the beat of your heart. You are alive now, and this moment, which will never repeat itself, is a gift. Perhaps this is the great lesson. To live fully is not to ignore death, but to integrate it as a natural part of the journey. After all, when we accept that life is brief, we stop merely existing and begin, truly, to live. How does reflecting on your impermanence change the way you live today? Comment if this perspective brings peace or insight to you. At this stage of life, whether before 60 or beyond, we realize that true wealth is not just in what we accumulate or achieve, but in how we live each moment. Throughout this journey, we have explored the importance of being present, cultivating self-awareness, nurturing compassion, living with gratitude, embracing life consciously, and accepting with serenity the inevitable flow of time. These are not distant ideas reserved for spiritual masters or special moments. They are practices possible here and now, in daily life, in the simple gestures we perform unconsciously, from breathing mindfully to looking someone in the eyes and truly listening. Presence is much more than being physically in a place. It is being fully in the moment without losing ourselves in the past or anticipating the future too much. When we allow ourselves to live this way, even the simplest events, like the sound of rain, the taste of a meal, or the warmth of the sun on our face, become sources of profound satisfaction. Self-awareness invites us to observe ourselves without judgment, not to criticize, but to better understand our thoughts, emotions, and patterns. This clarity allows us to choose how to respond rather than merely being carried by circumstances. Compassion reminds us that we are all interconnected. By offering understanding and kindness, not only to others but also to ourselves, we create invisible bridges that strengthen our shared humanity. Small acts of kindness have the power to transform not only someone else's day, but also our own journey. Gratitude, when consciously cultivated, changes how we see life. It teaches us to recognize and value the blessings we already have, rather than focusing only on what is missing. Living consciously is more than adopting healthy habits or seeking moments of peace. It is a daily commitment to act with intention, to be awake to what we do and why we do it. Finally, acceptance reminds us that everything is in constant change, and resisting what is inevitable only generates suffering. By accepting transformations, we learn to dance with life rather than fight against it. All these elements, presence, self-awareness, compassion, gratitude, conscious living, and acceptance, form a set of practices that can profoundly transform not only how we live before 60, but also how we navigate the decades beyond. No matter where you are in your journey, there is always room to grow spiritually, to open yourself more to life, and to find beauty even in the simplest moments. So, take these reflections with you. Try to put into practice today at least one gesture that reflects this more awakened way of living. It could be dedicating a few minutes to mindful breathing, writing down 3 things you are grateful for, offering a smile to a stranger, or simply listening to someone with genuine attention. The spiritual path is not a destination, but a continuous process, and each step we take with intention brings us closer to a fuller, more meaningful life. If this journey has touched you, subscribe for more reflections and share your own spiritual insights in the comments. Perhaps your experience is precisely the inspiration someone else needs to begin walking this path.